when in reality, this type of content can help people. This type of content can help people because people have been through hell. There are people that have been through hell. And if they hear other people who have been through hell, then it helps them heal. Because it becomes that it's not taboo anymore to talk about these things that you've been through. You know, I was deprived of food, water. I ended up in the ER, having to have IVs, ended up at some point writing everything down that had happened to a psychologist during the divorce. She turned it into child services. I almost got taken away by child services. There's no going back to that. It's someone who got you there, where you almost ended up in child services.
Their response to the child services.
I know what it was. Although I'm sure there are very nice foster families out there who are very kind, and you know, some even end up adopting the kids. There are stories, unfortunately, that happen in foster care of terrible things that happen to young girls in foster care. And my dad relayed that to her and said, we don't want Nicole to be taken away to foster care, and God forbid something like that happened. And my mother said, it'll teach her a lesson.
What should happen to you?
Well, the audience, it's not an additional line. They know what I'm saying, the audience. That what's the worst thing that could happen to you in foster care? And my mother said that she hoped it would happen to me in foster care because it would teach me a lesson.
This is your millionaire moment.
I am a survivor of domestic violence from my family. The reason you only see my dad in my videos is because it's only me and my dad. There is no other family. And I am a survivor of domestic violence growing up. That was my household environment. There's a lot of stories I could put on this channel that will help you understand why it was so bad, and that takes time because I can't put it all into one video. But I am a survivor of domestic violence from my family. And that means from my mother, and not only my mother, but her parents and her extended family as well, which is a pretty unusual situation. I want to say it's unusual, but in reality, I'm not an expert on domestic violence. So, I mean, there's probably other stories where it's similar as well. But this is something that extended not only my mother and what I endured in my life as a child, but also what went on from the extension of her parents, from her relatives. So it was a mess. And those things have had an effect on me in my current life. That is the reason why I have had issues walking away. I was watching, like I had mentioned in a previous video, I watched a very well-known psychologist on this platform who posts videos on narcissism. You probably know who I'm talking about. And she talked about resilience, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing. On the one hand, I learned probably as a child to have resilience in order to get through the day. That was what I had to do in order to survive each day. And on the one hand, resilience can put you in a bad situation where you keep going. You, like as she said, in other words, you don't leave that subbing job. You don't leave that relationship because you have resilience. Your brain learned to just make it work. And on the other hand, you can have resilience especially if you don't engage in the bad stuff or the toxic stuff, where your resilience makes you a very strong person to achieve your goals. You're the person that does study the whole night. You're the person who doesn't give up, and you get knocked down and you get back up again until you actually achieve your goals. So resilience can be a good thing. It can also be where the little things just don't get to you as much because you've literally, in the saying of I've developed tough skin, I've just built up a resilience to me where I don't I don't give up that easily, or at all. And, you know, something you could probably take away from my channel is if you've watched different videos I've been through a hell of a lot. And although that I may go into like a time period where you may notice that there's not as many videos coming out, or there's a day that I seem kind of down in the dumps, it's like I'm always going to get back up, because I always have. And you know, I've started to talk about some of those experiences on my channel, the domestic violence that I grew up in. And there will be many videos on this, so I can't get everything in this video. But recently I saw, those are jet skis you're hearing. Recently I saw my estranged, I guess the word is estranged, people you have not seen, maternal grandmother, meaning my mother's mother, and my mother's father, so my maternal grandfather, both of them at the grocery store. They didn't see me. This has happened probably twice in the last, it's probably happened 3 times, but twice in the last 2 or 3 months, which is interesting because it's like the universe wanted me to see them. The first time I saw them a couple months ago was when I was running to get my second job, and I was going through this horrible turmoil of, oh my God, we've all been fired from Dade County schools, and now we've been outsourced, and now I have to go out and get this second job, and how am I going to make everything work? And I think it was literally, that's what's funny, and my dad sitting behind me. This was the day that I called up my second job, which is now my priority job. And I called them up and I said, can you interview me? And I just called and called and called. And I finally got them to interview me. And it was a really rough day. I was just going through a lot. And that was a morning that I had walked into a grocery store. And I said to them, I know I'm educated, because I had to be blunt about it. I know I'm educated in terms of a formal education. Not that you need it. I'm just trying to tell you the dynamics. I know I've been to college. I know all this. But I really need a job. And I'm asking you guys here at the grocery store if you'll hire me for a job, because I'm going to be as honest and as authentic as I can to you that I need the money and I need a job. And sometimes in life we have to take jobs that are, you know, we didn't think we were going to end up in. And they treated me, they really sensed that I was in need of a job, and they showed their true colors. That should be more of a focused video in the future, but they were brutal. They made it where it was like, you are not welcome to work here. They basically said you are too educated, and it was, they were just pretty insidious. And at that point, at one point I'm sitting on the floor of the grocery store, another grocery store, trying to get the people on the phone from Kelly Education to see if I can even transfer as a sub, because I have to go for this thing to see if this in-person ceremony to see if I could even work anymore. And a lot was going on. I was seeing if I had to rapid sell my apartment so I had a dime to live on. It was a very, very, very rough day. At some point, I want to say this all transpired in the same day. I believe it did. And at some point that day, I saw my grandparents at the grocery store. And I saw them from a few feet away. They didn't really see me. They looked at me, but I don't think they correlated it was me. And it was like this thing from the universe of, you have been through so much and you have accomplished so much, and you're not going to stop now. And at that point, I went home and I called 2-3 times the place that I work at now. And I said, can you interview me? And it worked out. It was like this sign from the universe. What?
She said you were nervous.
She said I was very nervy, and she said sometimes that works out and sometimes it doesn't. In this case, it worked out, but you were a little nervy, she goes. But it worked out. And it was a lot because I saw them at the grocery store that it gave me the push to keep going, to keep trying. And that was a few months ago. And now the other day, again, I saw them at a distance. And then I ended up seeing the grandfather at first, and then I saw her, and then I'm online behind them, 2 people back, and I'm just like staring at them. The teller's looking at me like, why are you staring at this old lady? And I'm just like blank, just like staring like this, because it's quite a thing to be online to check out. You're 1 or 2 people back, and you're just like this. Like, how weird is this, that I am just staring at my grandmother, who I have not uttered a word to in 12 years. And then that experience that I saw her 12 years ago was extremely brief, 1 or 2 conversations in person that were 10 minutes apiece. And then before that, I had not seen her in probably almost 10 years as it was. So, and since no contact. So just behind her, and it's just like this weird thing again from the universe, and there was no desire. People would ask, like, did you feel like going up to her and saying, do you know who I am? I'm Nicole. No. Was there a desire to be like, grandma, that? No, it was blank. The first time I saw her, when I was going through the turmoil of, oh my God, I need to get this job, what do I do? There was a lot of like very determined feeling, like, look, like I've faced this before. I've been through so much. I could do this. I could figure this out. This time when I saw her was just kind of blank. But again, this feeling of I will carry on and I will achieve everything that I need to achieve and have the attitude of the universe has my back.
What do you think they want for you? What they would like to happen?
The universe or...
Your grandparents.
I will show you the dad, where the dad is sitting. Wave to the people. I think that they probably monitor my life. People would say, like, some people would probably comment to be like, you want to think that they're monitoring your life. But I think that they do occasionally, and I say that because not out of want, but I know them, obviously, and they're very narcissistic, and they just can't help themselves but to know what you're up to. I've done a very good job, and I'm proud of myself that I actually have not researched them. I don't go on their social media. I don't look at anything like that for 2 reasons. Number one, I know it's not healthy, and I know that if in the event I see something and it ends up triggering me, that could really set me back. So I don't want to do that. But also, I don't think about them. I don't think about them. That was 13 years ago. 13 years ago when I reached out to see if there could be any type of relationship with them, and they were very, very cruel. But I think that I honestly think that, you could touch on it in this video and people could understand a lot of the pain, but this is stuff that needs to go in its own video. For people that are watching this, I'll have people that watch us, and there always will be that type of person that'd be like, it's your family, you have to make up with them. I remember years ago, I went on a date with a guy, and that turned into our dinner conversation, and I literally wanted to take my plate of pasta and you would think throw the plate of pasta. No, I wanted to take the plate of pasta and bye, which I should have. That they tell you must have relationship with them. It's like there's a lot that happened.
They told you how to prove yourself to them.
They are the types of people that Lifetime movies are made about. They have quite a reputation in South Florida. The types of people. There would be stories from my grandparents' generation, from my dad's mom, that it was known, like, when you see them coming, you cross the street and you don't lock eyes with them and you keep going because you're going to have the most narcissistic conversation you've ever seen. And this was the type of life, growing up where, not to put so much into one video, where, I was deprived of food, water. I ended up in the ER, having to have IVs, ended up at some point writing everything down that had happened to a psychologist during the divorce. She turned it into child services. I almost got taken away by child services. There's a lot. It's at that level. It's at that level of child services level. So this is, there's no going back to that. It's someone who got you there, where you almost ended up in child services.
Their response to the child services.
I know what it was.
I'll sanitize it. The response was,
it'll
do you good to go with the type of family that will.
Let me explain it to the audience. To give you a quick snippet of how bad this was, because I have to say this in the most clean way as possible for YouTube, although YouTube says I can talk about this stuff from a survivorship perspective and there's no issue. When my parents were fighting very badly in the household, my dad ended up, I was standing there as a child, I don't know how I was, 9, 10 years old. No, I guess
If the divorce was coming?
when she made that comment in the house. I was probably 10, 11.
Yeah.
My dad made a comment to my mom, and basically we, had a lot of, at the times, screaming, yelling. My dad had a conversation with my mom that basically said, if this keeps up, it could end up being a situation where Nicole ends up being taken away and going to child services. Although I'm sure there are very nice foster families out there who are very kind, and some even end up adopting the kids. There are stories, unfortunately, that happen in foster care of terrible things that happen to young girls in foster care. And my dad relayed that to her and said, we don't want Nicole to be taken away to foster care, and God forbid something like that happened. And my mother said, it'll teach her a lesson. Well, the audience, it's not an additional line. They know what I'm saying, the audience. That what's the worst thing that could happen to you in foster care? And my mother said that she hoped it would happen to me in foster care because it would teach me a lesson.
This is your millionaire moment.
With these stories that I talk about openly about her and them, not to add a stereotype, but you would think that this is like, again, don't come at me for saying this, like a trailer park mother who has stereotype addictions, like things you see in the movies, like a really stereotypical, some horrible movie that you're watching. And this, you wouldn't think that my mother lives in a $3 million mansion, has properties all over the place, that each property is at that value. You wouldn't think that you're dealing with that type of family. That, I went as a child from going on, let's go for 2 weeks and stay at the Animal Kingdom Lodge at Disney for 2 weeks, go on a Royal Caribbean ship, and let's go back to Disney for another 2 weeks and stay at the Grand Floridian this time. You wouldn't think that would be my lifestyle as a child. And then have it where the secret is, yes, we go on those family vacations and we take those photos, but you don't know I'm going back to a house where the lights are off in the dark, and you're in your mansion, and the mother is saying lines like that to me. Because that was my life.
He said that he was so freaked out.
Our lawyer or their lawyer that quit?
Our lawyer said he was so freaked out that that he said, he told me he was so freaked out, he was starting to cry. They said on their own, what do we want for her? We want her to be in a cardboard.
No, they said that about you.
And you. We want both of them to be in a cardboard box.
And that's
living on
pretty
the
bad.
beach.
That's pretty bad for your lawyer to say, which lawyers have a reputation
Yeah, being-
of using up all your money in divorce
Yeah.
cases to say that.
That evil people. This was not a situation of a rich family where the granddaughter is the princess.
I was watching a YouTuber just a few minutes ago talks about, motivation, especially towards women. And she was talking about in her podcast, I was watching it a few minutes ago, of how do I take, that was the conversation. She was saying, how do I take personal things that have happened to me, which I can't deny happened, and I can't come on here and be like, let me film a video of me dancing with the iguanas and pretend that this hasn't been my life. Although you will see videos of me doing that, especially when I'm in a good mood.
You could film a video of an iguana jumping out of a tree onto you.
How do you, her point was, how do I take the stories that have happened to me and the stories I hear and put this on this platform as a benefit? And the answer is, you have different types of content creators on this platform. You have the ones who sanitize everything and you don't see any reality to their life whatsoever. It is only, I go on a cruise and I eat that donut at Disney, and although you will see those videos of me, you never hear anything about their life.
They have actually said on their platform,
Like, we're not going to discuss anything.
Do not
When in
mention
reality,
that.
this type of content can help people. This type of content can help people because people have been through hell. There are people that have been through hell. And if they hear other people who have been through hell, then it helps them heal. Because it becomes that it's not taboo anymore to talk about these things that you've been through. It's not taboo. You're taking away. These videos can help people. You will, like I said, I was trying to figure out the direction of this channel. My shorts are a way that I spread light to the world. They're funny, at least I think they're funny. And it's just free flowing in the moment. And I am truthfully authentic in those videos. It's just when I'm happy and goofy and I end up recording it. It's a way to spread light. The long form content, although you will have those videos, because if you look at like some of my videos when I went to Universal, I was in a happy mode. I wasn't talking about this type of stuff. Those may be enjoyable for you to watch. You like watching a video, and I do too. I was watching a video a minute ago of people going on Royal Caribbean. It's fun to watch those videos. It peps you up. I want to go on a vacation, and that's a way to spread light. It brings happiness to people. But another type of long-form content is these types of videos, or advocacy videos, or talking about things that help people. But you'll see it all here. I'm going to, I'll go on a Royal Caribbean ship, and you'll see me having fun. And in that video, you may not hear anything of this. And if that's the only video you watch, you would be, and then somehow you stumbled across this video, you would be very confused. In other words, wow, I didn't know that this content creator has this much going on this channel. In other words, I thought I was only going to see cruise ship videos. But I can't be that type of person, because if I have to be in that mode where it's like I have to be funny, I won't have anything to film, because the truth is today I am not in that mode. I also don't have the money today to go on a ship. So manifesting it. But
will you go on an island tour?
I guess. By island tour, I mean I will step off the boat and go to the shop. But tour, no.
No tiki.
That's how you miss the boat back. But I think that these videos can help people, and they're also therapeutic for me. Because if you cry this easily, that means that there's still issues to deal with. I don't think you ever stop crying. You don't, even if you process the emotions more, you still always remember. I've always had the universe looking out for me.
You have a team.
I believe that.
There's a whole team. They've been assigned.
You know, I'll have people occasionally, they'll basically ask me, why are you not affected by these little things or these little things that happen here or there? It's like, because I have seen hell and back a few times. And whatever this is in the moment, this doesn't look like that.
That ER doctor came up to me and he said, I want to know what is going on here, for real. He said, don't go telling me she studies a lot. Study anxiety.
Oh,
And then he said
he pushed it that much, where
yeah.
like he doesn't believe you, like,
Yes,
okay, anxiety, and what
going
else is going on?
And I said,
Because he said something like this is not a normal reaction to studying.
this is not a normal reaction to study. And I said, yeah, it's a very rough private school and they give you a lot of work. And he said, okay, she'll be okay. You can take her home. Like, so that's where we're headed with this.
So that's probably it for this video. Because I feel like we could just keep going and going, and it needs to be in another
Let's
video.
go.
I appreciate you guys tuning in for this. I'm going to try my best to make more authentic content on this channel, because I think that it's my purpose with this channel, and I think it could help other people. Suddenly, you know, I noticed, especially with the videos I post on universal and disabilities and all this stuff, a lot of people have commented, and I haven't forgotten about you guys. There's a lot of comments, and I just haven't had the time to answer everyone in a thoughtful manner, because each response needs a paragraph. And I've been in kind of this place right now, and I'll get to it. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you all. I'll try to be more active on Patreon and channel memberships so that I can build that up as well and have more particular content for those platforms. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you all being here, and I will see you soon in my next video. And